Hi guys, this is Achilles with another build on PTR at the moment. It will be released most likely end of this week. I'm going to talk about Witch Doctor Spirit Barrage. Since this build is already complicated, I'm trying to deliver the mechanics as simple as possible to you guys, but if you want to dive into the very details of the Spirit Barrage mechanics, the guides that's been out are still valid, so none of that has changed. I'll leave a link down below the video for you guys to take a look, but I'll explain all of them. Not in great details. Well, we got a new set housing the Spirit Barrage. Yeah, I'm not gonna pronounce that. The Mundunugu? What? MD. Witch Doctor, it's, yeah, MD, he's a doctor. So, the new set is actually pretty cool. Like, the utility, the whole gaining damage based on your mana regen is insane. I'm gonna start with it with the 2 set. We get double duration of our BBV, which is, well, it was 20 seconds, now it's 40 seconds, last 40 seconds, and it follows you. So you don't have to drop it as you go. Like, as I drop my BBB, you can see it's following. Even if I use a Spirit Walk, it'll catch up. Look at this thing. It's insane. And this 4-piece, which is our mitigation damage reduction, is tied to a Spirit Realm. There are 2 ways of getting into a Spirit Realm as far as I know. One of them is Spirit Walk, which you guys can see. The buff pops up here, attunement to the realm, and the other one is the passive, Spirit Vessel. When you take fatal damage, you enter the Spirit Realm. So you either take proc. Well, you don't want to use proc to to proc your 4-piece damage reduction, but the best way of it is a Spirit Walk. So Spirit Walk gives us the damage reduction, BBV follows us, and it's double duration. The important one, or our damage increase, comes from the 6-piece. I don't know why they word it like that. No matter how I read it, it's wrong. So I hope they fix that. The Spirit Barrage, it used to read like this. The Spirit Barrage deals increased damage equal to 50 times your mana regeneration per second. Not 50%. So 50 times your mana regeneration per second, meaning when we have the mana regeneration here, which is 50 base, I get another 14 here, 64. Where's the other 7 comes from? Oh, yeah, this guy, Follower, gives us 7 mana per second. So, there's the 71 mana regen per, basically, which we get 50 times of this, which is 355. So it's 355, which is basically 3,550% damage increase. This is base. So we have to increase this as much as we can to increase our basically 6-piece. One of them is Big Bad Voodoo, Rain Dance. Rain Dance rune gives us 250 mana per second. As you can see, we jumped up from 71 mana regen to 321. That's one. What's the other one? The other one is our Rush of Essence. The spirit spells return 100 mana over 10 seconds. 100 mana over 10 seconds means 10 mana per second, right? So, what are the spirit spells? Haunt, Horrify, Mass Confusion, Soul Harvest, Spirit Barrage, Spirit Walk. We're already using a Spirit Walk and a Spirit Barrage. I explained why we don't want to spam Spirit Barrage. As I explained the new items, or the revamped items. So we're most probably gonna spam Haunt. Just to finish over here with the mana regen, I'm gonna spam Haunt to show you how Rush of Essence works. As you guys can see, 71. I spam one Haunt, goes to 81. For the next 10 seconds we have 81. But it stacks on itself. So I can spam hunt 91, 100, 120. Based on attack speed, that how many hunts or how many spirit spells, or spirit brush, doesn't matter, you can cast per second. This goes up. Basically, how many you can cast during that 10-second window of Rush of Essence, this goes up. And then each stack drops individually. So, meaning, with enough attack speed, you can cast a lot of it. So, this can go up. Like, right now, with no attack speed, if I'm going up to 281, I guess that's it. Yep. We can, like, you know, Spirit Walk in the middle of it to just make it to 91. But, you guys understand what I'm saying. We get that much. That is without BBV. With the BBV on top of that, we go up to almost like 500. Well, oh, we actually surpassed 500. Yikes. 551, right? So, meaning now we're almost close to 25,000% multiplier for the set, right? We can increase this even more. There's a passive called Vision Quest. Whenever one of our signature spells deals damage, we gain a 40% increased mana regen. This 40% is a multiplier. It multiplies to everything, meaning it literally multiplies that 500 number you saw there by 40%. So we get another so we get another 300 mana regen. Basically, these are the mana regen, well, the optimal mana regen stuff we're going to be using. There are other stuffs. There are Spiritual Attunement, which you gain 2% of your maximum mana per second, but it's very tiny. Like, even if you get maximum mana on everything, 2% of it is small. It's like 20. Right now on 1,000, it's like 20. If you get maximum mana on offhand weapon, that goes up to what, like 1,200? It becomes like, it's very small. It, like, you don't even get to 30 mana. So it's like 2 or 3 stacks of Rush of Essence. So, like, a little bit of attack speed just nullifies it. Since the passives are very important to us, we want to keep all of them. So Vision Quest, Rush of Essence, these are a staple of whether solo, speed. Well, on a speed run you probably can drop the Courser Spider, but why? Like, it's damage, why? Unless you don't need the damage, yes. But the rest we can change. Even if you use the other 2, or if you use a Hellfire, we can change the other 3. So, let's put that aside. As I said, I'm trying to simplify this as much as I can. Let's talk about the new Gazing Demise. So the new Gazing Demise, just like the previous one, gives us the Spirit Barrage, gives us the Phantasm rune, and each active Phantasm, instead of 5 seconds, lasts twice, which is now lasts 10 seconds. But remember, that 750 number, actually, I tested this, doesn't spread across that 10 seconds. So basically it becomes 755 seconds, 755 seconds. So the wording becomes like it deals 1500 damage over 10 seconds. This is what happens with this new Gazing Demise. So lasts twice as long, and each Spirit Barrage increases the Spirit Barrage damage by 150%. It used to be 50%. And also increase the attack rate from Mana to Spectres. Mantis is a little bit buggy. I explain why, but let's just forget that until the end. So we gain damage here from 50% to 150%. Oh, where is my barber? There you go. The new barber now. Just like before, accumulates the Spirit Barrage damage. And as soon as we stop casting, basically, as soon as the Phantasm stops accumulating, and I mean Phantasms, I don't mean all Spirit Barrage runes, because that's exactly how it works. Only Phantasms. When it stops casting, when it stops accumulating, it explodes. It says for 500, but it's plus 500, so it's technically, it's like 600. So but let's just go with it. I don't know why they're doing this with all the wordings, but But yeah, it deals 500. It used to be 250%, which was again 350 of the accumulated damage to all enemies within 15 yards. Remember the accumulation of this. Let me change the rune for now so you guys can see. The accumulation of this phantasm. This is only 10 yards. You guys can see it's small. But if you wait, the explosion. I don't see we see explosion because it's not accumulating at all. It's 15 yards instead of 10. When I hit a target, you see a bigger blue circle. So the explosion is 15 yards because of the barber, and the accumulation is only 10 yards because phantasm rune is 10 yards only. We can have 3 phantasms out. They accumulate 10 seconds, and they deal damage of all the accumulation after the duration ends. During this time is the only time they gain damage. The explosion is not a separate calculation. What do I mean? Let's say we have convention of elements. When I am casting these, when the convention passes, the 4 second, they only gain accumulated damage of that 4 second, and on the explosion they apply that, basically, because 4 seconds of that accumulation was stronger, if that makes sense. So, meaning, if explosion happens in the COE, it doesn't change anything, because the explosion doesn't have a calculation. As I said, it's the accumulation of the previous 10 seconds. Or if you choose to explode them early, because you can cast 3, and if I cast the fourth one, the first one is gonna explode. You guys can see. Cast another one, the second one explode. Cast another one, the third one explode. Because you only can have 3 up at a time. Just like before, phantasms, they count as pet, and the Spirit Barrage itself is a spell casted by Witch Doctor. So Blizzard agreed to leave the Ring of Emptiness buffing the Spirit Barrage, but since Ring of Emptiness doesn't buff pets and phantasms are pets, they left it to buff phantasms, and we had Blue Post that they're never gonna touch that. They don't want to change it. They're balancing it based on that. So Ring of Emptiness gives us a 300% damage increase, and Ring of Emptiness was changed, I think, yesterday as well. It gives us 300% increased damage to enemies affected by either Haunt or Locust Swarm. So we don't need both now. We do not need to dot everything up. So as long as we have Haunt on our bar and Haunt everything, they gain that 300% damage increase. Or for a speed variant, if you wear Barber and Cube Wormwood, constantly Locust Swarming the screen, we get this Ring of Emptiness damage increase 300% without even casting anything. We just can cast our Spirit Barrage freely and get this damage, which I think that would be our maybe T16 run, or low speed runs, 90s, 100s. What else? As I said, they're pets, so we can use Mask of Jaram, 200% pet damage. We can use Enforcer, 60% multiplier to pet damage, as well as Ring of Emptiness. As I said, it buffs Spirit Barrage, so they gain benefit of this as well. So I think we covered the mechanics. Well, I'm gonna just revise the old mechanics as well so you guys remember. Since the damage, as I said, is accumulation of the previous, used to be 5, now it's 10 seconds. The accumulation itself does not proc any procs, including area damage. So it doesn't proc life per hit, it doesn't proc anything. So area damage is pretty much useless on this. The explosion, because the explosion is where we get that 500%. Prior to explosion, the ticks, the hits, all of them procs everything, including area damage. But since the explosion, which is the big damage happening, doesn't proc area damage because it's a proc itself, we don't go for area damage. It's just a waste of stat, and the damage of it is tiny. But since phantasms are pets and they have a static attack speed, basically the attack, basically their attack rate does not increase with attack speed. They gain damage with attack speed, like some of the pets in the game. Therefore, attack speed is a major damage increase because it allows you to stack this Rush of Essence faster, as well as buffing your pets 1-to-1. So you're double dipping with attack speed. For solo variant, unfortunately, since Wind is stricken, we cannot use Pain Enhancer, but for 4-man groups, Pain Enhancer is like your best gem. Followed by both Traps and Enforcer are the same. But Pain Enhancer is like the highest damage gem you can use in that setup. Okay, so I am going to show you a variant that I think is sort of the best. As I explained how basically the Spirit Barrage accumulates damage and explosion doesn't come into, basically it's just a calculation of the last previous 10 seconds, makes COE actually not that desirable. It's not a bad item, but if you think about it, during a 16-second, like you do like maybe 2 8-second damage rotations, one of them has COE in it, so like 50% of that 8-second has like 200% damage of COE, so you gain 100% damage during that 8 seconds of, and the other 8 seconds you don't even get it. So overall it's like a 50% damage increase. So I choose to run captains. I actually don't have a lot of cooldown, but as you can see I'm already reaching 50%, so 50% damage increase across the board. I don't have to worry about my phantasms being basically don't explode on cold, just accumulate during cold. I don't have to even worry about COE, so I'm just using Captain. But there's another reason for that, and that is Big Bad Voodoo. We have no way of resetting Big Bad Voodoo. On solo with Grave Injustice, yes we do, because it reduces our cooldown by 1 second per mob we kill. But even with that you need a lot of cooldown to reset it. It's a huge DPS part of your rotation. You want this to be 100% uptime. Even at 40 seconds, as you see, the cooldown of BBV is 126, 2 minutes cooldown. So you want this to be 100% uptime, therefore we're using Captain. I'm using Traveler's Pledge, obviously cold, because Phantasms are just to deal cold damage. This cold damage is added to the pet damage. This is not a separate multiplier, this is added to the cold you see here. I'm using Ring of Royal, obviously, to wear the Captain, as well as my set piece. And Barber used to be a dagger attack speed, but now they changed that too. Thanks to certain individual, European individual. So it's the same as Sacred Harvester. So if you have a good Sacred Harvester, just use that Cube Barber. Doesn't make any difference. We're using Sacred Harvester because we're using Lakumba for damage reduction. We get 6% damage reduction per stack. With Sacred Harvester we get 10 stacks, translate into 60% damage reduction here, 60% from the set, 20% from Captain, and if we're walking around and we're scared we're gonna die, we get 50% damage reduction from the Traveler's Pledge. So all in all we get a lot of damage reduction. And with Captain, since we have a lot of cooldown, we also get a really short cooldown on our Spirit Walk. Severance. I'm using Severance just because I want to move faster. And also because we still have the bug that when you are in a Spirit Realm, if you cast the Spirit Barrage while in a Spirit Realm, this Spirit Barrage doesn't accumulate. So basically you're losing damage. So I don't want the longer duration. The 2 second is fine. Okay, I explained the Vision Quest, the 40% mana increase. The rune I'm choosing to basically use for that is a Spider Queen. Corpse of Spiders, a Spider Queen. Why? Because this thing lasts 15 seconds. I don't have to worry about it. It just gives me that mana. You're gonna see here when it hits enemies, it's just gonna keep resetting and give me that mana increase. I don't have to worry about it at all. So I'm getting my Soul Harvest stacks, dropping one of these, dropping the BBV. All I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna cast Spirit Barrage and Haunt. And I'm gonna make them explode myself because these don't follow mobs. But yes, basically I don't have to worry about my anything else but just casting Spirit Barrage and spamming Haunt to make sure everything is affected by Haunt to get my 300% Ring of Emptiness. Yes, we're done. Almost. There are some mechanics with this Manitou, as I said. I'm not gonna go dive into it because we don't want to make a podcast video. This is supposed to be a short video. Manitou is not a pet. So, right there, you're losing Enforcer, you're losing Mask of Zoran. And the attack speed doesn't affect it at all. But since it already getting increased attack rate from Gazing Demise, it's gaining benefit of everything else, like everything else buffs it, beside the pet stuff. And it has a 6k weapon damage instead of a 750 of Phantasm. But 6k over 20 seconds, which makes it 300 damage per tick. Let's say per second to make it easier. Alright? 300 times 20 seconds is 6k. Does it accumulate? Does it work with Barber? Yes. There's a catch. It only works with Barber if there is a Phantasm out. So the moment this Phantasm disappears, this stops accumulating. What does it accumulate? On the closest target. How many times does it accumulate? 3 times. I tested all of this. I'm not gonna go dive into it. If you want to know specific, something really like specific, I'll explain it to you. Just leave a comment for me. But as you guys can see it actually, it's visual. You don't even need to test it. Drop a Phantasm, you can see like 3 bolts, right? I'm dropping 3 now. Look at the amount of bolts increasing. So it's technically 1 Spectre still, but it deals 3 times the damage. Now there are 2 of them. You see, drop the number of the bolts. Just none. You can see it. You can see the bolts increase with the number of Phantasms. And this actually deals damage. And it accumulates with Barber. Funny enough, the number of targets that accumulates increase with the number of Spectres. So 3 of them like accumulates 3 targets, 3 closest target. Why did I even tell you this if it's not that important? It is important on a single target, aka boss, Rift Guardian. Because this Spectre accumulates on the boss forever. It doesn't have a duration. I think it's a bug because it should technically expires after 20 seconds because it's a 20-second duration and it deals damage. But that's not the case. It accumulates forever until you literally don't have a Phantasm on the ground. So you can keep attacking and stacking on the boss, and at a point let these 3 expire, and you're gonna see a huge chunk of damage on the boss. Like a massive chunk of damage. Because it's still like accumulating. Technically, it just deals all the damage that it's supposed to during all of that time. It just deals it at a certain point. And since that certain point, as I said, is not affected by dynamic buffs, aka Power Pylon, Achilles, COE, Convention of Elements, it doesn't really matter. So as long as you are gaining those buffs prior to the explosion, all of that is going to apply to the final damage. I'm just going to show you just how it plays out, and I'm not doing the 130. Like I have like normal gear, and like actually let me put like paragons in. So do I have enough health? Let's get a little bit more health. That's fine. Let's get 1000. So I want to get like a little bit of intellect. 14k intellect is enough. So let's do a 110. So gems, as I said, we're using Enforcer, Trapped, and Stricken. honestly, on a 110 stricken is not needed, but let's just go with stricken. So we use our spirit walk right off the bat to get our 50% damage reduction, and then we are gonna get the soul harvester stacks. Alright, now I'm gonna drop the spider. I forgot. Do you guys see the vision quest on my bar? It keeps resetting. As long as that spider hits something, I get that vision quest. So I don't need to spam the spider. I just need to press it every 15 seconds and we are Gucci. So I casted 3 of them, go into Achilles. Now I'm gonna cast the 4th to make the first one explode and everything dies. You guys gotta remember your 4-piece, aka your damage reduction, is tied to your spirit walk. You have an indicator for it. Use it. I'm missing cooldown on a lot of pieces. That's why, well, on 3 pieces actually. That's why I don't have a 100% BBB uptime, and these mobs are really bad, so I'm not gaining. That passive proc, I'm not gaining 1 second of my cooldowns off based on enemies I kill. Alright. The good cooldown is actually pretty nice. The captain. Just having that spirit walk handy right before if you're about to die. So I'm like at this tier, like you can get. Oh, okay, I just killed myself. I died to the Grotesque. It says Deathly Haunt, but I'm pretty sure the Grotesque dealt like most of that most of the damage to me. There you go, found an elite. Alright. There's a shield pylon. Your friend. Let's take it. So dropping 3 of these here, gonna go to the Aki. It's accumulating right now. Even if the Aki disappears. Now I'm gonna explode them. Like I cast the 4th one and force explode them. I hope this is not too much. I try to make it as simple as possible. Like the playstyle should be fairly simple at least. If the explanation wasn't. Oh, another blue. So oh, Aki and everything, they're accumulating. You guys can see on the ground. Now I'm gonna explode them. 1 hit. Yeah. Spirit Barrage. At its finest. Oh, yeah, I forgot that the shield pollen dropped. For more tankiness, you can drop the Traveler's Pledge that I'm using and use Hellfire, Flavor of Time. You cannot use the squirts, you're just taking too much damage. But you can use Hellfire or Flavor of Time. Hellfire for another damage passive. And then for the extra ring you can use Unity. That's another 50% damage reduction. But personally, I don't think it's necessary. I think with a little bit of practice and not getting these mobs, like getting better mobs, you do not need this. I'm trying to showcase the potential of the build rather than you know, the most tanky variant of it. So we get an Aki, going to Aki, force explode. There's something I'm doing, I don't know if you guys noticed. When I drop 3, I instantly explode one, get a 4th one out, just to get an Oculus. Then I go and sit in that Oculus and wait for these, oh, I almost killed myself. And wait for these, the other 3 to accumulate, but now I have Aki buff on them. So, keep gaining damage. Is that, oh, Jailer, god damn it. Jailer is possibly the worst you can get, because if you don't have a Spirit Barrage right there, for example, and if you jail me, yep, right there, you can walk to your own death, because that actually shouldn't have killed me. I think that was a bug, because I killed myself as if it was like a reflect sort of thing, so the Spirit Rush killed myself. I assume that's another thing, that you casting a Spirit Barrage during your Spirit Walk. I really hope they fix this. Like, the Spirit Walk during... Sorry, the Spirit Barrage during Spirit Walk is not gaining damage, and it also can kill you apparently. So, because right there, a full Grotesque couldn't kill me, but my own Spirit Barrage did. During the Spirit Walk, I tend to just cast Haunt, not the Spirit Barrage, because as I said, the damage doesn't apply, therefore you're missing damage, so why would I do that? So I'm accumulating. Oh, now I'm gonna explode it because I don't want to die. When I go to Aki, I'm not gonna even explode this. I want you guys to see the explosion happens after the Spectre that you drop, after the Phantasm that you drop expires. Power. Let's keep that for the boss, shall we? Actually, do we need to? I think we can kill the boss in 3 hits. That's a boss. You guys can see the Manitou is just accumulating on the boss. See, there's no explosion, no blue explosion. Now I'm not gonna cast anything. You see, it just... The accumulation reached to the point of the boss's health, so it explodes by itself. But if it didn't, without me even... Like, my Phantasms were here. And this boss died here. That was just Manitou. It's insane how much damage it does to a single target. I don't know, I think I explained everything with this set, and hopefully you got most of the mechanics and most of what I said, because I feel like I actually did a terrible job at explaining it, but there are different variants of it as well. As I said, there's a COE with the Hellfire variant. There is, I think this is the most amount of damage, personally. But you can also drop Captain, Cube COE. Since you drop Captain, you gain a belt. You can wear this belt, Belt of Transcendence, which gives you Fetish Sycophants. And change your Sacred Harvester to Stallmother Kukri. Do I have one? Yep, there you go. Then you don't even need cooldown. The Sycophants around you will reset BBV almost instantly. But then what do you lose here? You lose Sacred Harvester. Sacred Harvester is like a lot of damage reduction, right? Because of Lakumba. And COE, to be honest, in a full convention cycle in 16 seconds, is almost as much as Captain, if not less. So, I mean, here's my 2 penny worth of this set. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will make another guide for the H90 Barbarian set, and I'll drop it this week. The Wizard, I'll wait to see if there's some changes to it, because it's extremely weak, the multiplier on the 6-piece, and I hate the 4-piece. But I'll see you guys this week, definitely.